What's a smell you will never forget? Warning, not recommended for viewing while eating. You have been warned. Purple lilacs. My parents' home, my childhood home, the entire back fence is lined with them, and the smell would waft into the house from April until September at the start of fall. My grandmother had purple lilacs growing next to her front door. I love that smell. Burned clutch. Reminds me of broccoli for some reason. Or brakes. It's east to up a mountain. Going down, that's a problem. Death. Once you smell it, you recognize it every time you cross it again. Human death, especially at rigor mortis. There are different stages. It's gross, kinda. I'm in the industry. Worst one I found was deceased 10 to 12 weeks, died next to a heater and closed window. Individual was 400 to 450 pounds. Let's just say they popped, then melted. Was a shop vac job. What a terrible day to be able to read. The cleanup guy was probably having a worse day. Turkey vulture vomit. I was driving down Highway 1 north of Hearst Castle, and I saw a turkey vulture swoop down and spray my vehicle with vomit. A lot of vomit. I can still see it coming down to splash against my windshield and spray across the vehicle and teardrop. A few seconds later, the smell. It was awful. I pulled over and my son sprinted away from the vehicle. There was regurgitated blood and guts everywhere. Had to wash the vehicle and teardrop 3 times to get most of it off. That's the kind of midlife crisis only birds can give you. A seagull vomited in the hood of my jacket in Scotland. I will also never forget the smell of blood and semi-digested meat this flying bastard ate right before dropping this bomb on me. Reminds me of when I saw a big bird land in my backyard and wondered to myself if it was a vulture and what it would be doing out there. So I opened my back door to see what it was doing, and a pungent wall of rotting purification hit me as soon as I opened the door because a deer had dozed only about 50 feet away. That was almost as fun as the cascade of maggots that made their way downhill after a couple days. Because, of course, the deer died uphill from where I lived. Highly medicated old people. The smell is literally gut-wrenching. This. Worked on an Alzheimer's and dementia floor and had to deal with death, diapers, catheters, every type of illness and cancers. Some smells would remind me of my grandparents. Some were hours before death and you could sense it coming, like they say dogs know. And like that Counting Crows song, the smell of hospitals in winter, when the heat's blasting and the sliding door pulls in cold air, he hit the nail on the head with that line. Still in the field, but it almost got too much for me, especially during the pandemic. And families couldn't visit. It got dark, day in and day out, and people dropping, basically wearing a hazmat suit. Fuck. Created a bad drinking problem. I take full accountability, but I'm picking up the pieces now. It was just depressing, but I was present every damn day and will continue to help the voiceless. I walked in some houses when I was an EMT in high school for wellness checks that were suicides, elderly deaths. If anyone has been there, you know the smell that you don't forget. Dogs, cats around, sitting on the owners, just awful, heartbreaking stuffs. I'm desensitized at this point, which is either a good thing or a bad thing. Wait, dogs, cats, sitting on their owners? Are you serious? This is heartbreaking. Not gonna lie, the dogs, cats part fucked me hard. Your hands after picking tomatoes? I used to work for a hydroponic tomato farmer, and that tomato plant smell is one of my favorites. The air in the elementary art class. Oh man, what was that? Like a mix of cardboard, paper, crayons, and a slightly sweet, gross, wet smell? Def some acrylic paint mixed in. Friends, I really need your help. I haven't completed my challenge for last month, 100 subscribers. So I'm offering a barter. I'll give you interesting videos like this one, and you give me a subscription. Here's the button at the top right. Please help. You can also like this video, and I'll kiss you. Through the screen, of course. Let's keep going. Good smells. Walking through forests in the PNW in the winter after a rainfall. It just was incredibly fresh. Nostalgic. My mom has a little recipe called Christmas scent. That is some spices, cinnamon, clove, and a few others, and citrus that you let barely simmer, and it smells amazing. It's always on during the holidays and makes me feel like a little kid.
Nasty smell, having to push a porta-john onto a trailer to get it off a bridge project after it had been trapped behind some equipment and baked in the Louisiana sun for about 2 months. As soon as it started sloshing, it was game over. The state trooper who was doing the lane closure for us to get said shitter told us if we ever did that again, he was arresting all of us. At that point, that portable toilet counts as a bioweapon. I had a job trailer that for some reason, every time they would vacuum out the storage tank, we would have to evacuate because the whole trailer filled up with what I can imagine is what the inside of a sewage pump truck's tank smells like. I don't blame the state trooper.
Chlorine and sunscreen on a hot summer afternoon at the public pool. Instantly back to being 8 years old. Fun fact, the chlorine smell you get off a pool, almost always public, is actually chloramine, which is the byproduct of the chlorine doing its job, killing contaminants. I also highly suggest avoiding public spas. Small bodies of heated water that are used by multiple people daily need to be cleaned and balanced a bunch of times a day. They're usually cleaned once, maybe twice a week. I used to work for a cleaning company, and the 2 worst smells were the kitchens at frat houses, rotting food, vomit, mold, trash, beer, and piss. And that distinct pungent odor that exists in the hallways and bathrooms upstairs in the sorority houses. The air is heavy with the thick, tampon rotting somewhere bloody smell, fishy and then covered up with pink Victoria's Secret perfume. I can't stand the smell of Victoria's Secret because my memories keep reminding me of rotting pads and yeast infections. I wish I didn't read this. Expressed anal glands from a dog. It's vile. I was fucking eating. Hopefully nothing juicy. Sorry, friend. It's juicy all right, and I'm looking right at it. Got my appetite back now. Orange groves in the south of Spain. The smell of oranges takes me straight back to being a kid and driving through endless orange groves sitting next to my dad. Orange groves. Proof that life's best souvenirs are smells, not souvenirs. The smell of basil and tomatoes growing in my grandma's garden and what the inside of her house smelled like. Microwaving a frozen coffee cake in the wrapper for 99 minutes instead of 99 seconds. Answered the phone, went outside and got distracted until the smoke detector started going off. Had to throw the microwave away. The smell of molten sugar and plastic is forever etched in my brain, and I still can't eat coffee cake 30 years later. Airbag smoke. It doesn't smell like any campfire or cigarettes or anything else. Sometimes the scary driving situations will trigger an olfactory memory. Burnt plastic is as close as I can describe. My kids and I survived being hit by a driver in the wrong lane. The airbag smell seemed to last forever. Couldn't wash it off. Thankfully, I've only blown up airbags for fun. Those things have a really shocking amount of explosives in there. But yes, it's a distinctive smoke. You'd think it's like gunpowder, but it's not quite that. Corpse embalmed with formaldehyde. Worst headache of my life. My grandma would make chop suey the first weekend after New Year's Day. It's a Polish tradition. The smell of her old apartment and the food cooking always gave me the ultimate comfort. I miss the feeling I'd get when that aroma hit my nostrils. Snow. When I was a child, I once told my dad, "It smells like it's going to snow." He didn't believe that was possible. Then it snowed. Rotten egg. Literally worse than poop or decaying body. I went to crack an egg in the pan and this black sludge came out, and the smell caused me to run out of the house. I couldn't eat eggs for a long time after that. Brah, my dumbass brother and uncle left a little boiled egg yolk on the kitchen counter. Then after the vacay, we entered the house. The moment I stepped in, I screamed, cursed, and run out to the elevator. That she smells so bad it made my nervous system crash out. The smell of jasmine in my grandparents' house garden. We have jasmine growing on the fence just outside our kitchen window, and the smell wafts in most days, and it's so lovely. I really believe it is the most amazing smell in all of the other flowers or roses. Maybe because it also brings me childhood memories. It is fascinating what a little bit of scent can do to a human being. The chemical fluid used in schools to make copies. When the teacher would give the handouts, the paper would be cold and wet, but it dried really quickly and the vapor smelled so good. All the kids, including me, would sniff that paper like it was laced with cocaine. Probably some serious brain damage. Mimeograph, Ditto, not sure of the name of the machine or the fluid. Ditto is the brand name, think Kleenex, and mimeograph was the generic machine technology, think facial tissue. Used to be an archaeologist. Freshly excavated medieval cesspit? Fucking hell, I could still smell it 3 weeks later. Weird to think it still smelled hundreds of years later. They're often waterlogged, which preserves organic material. Also why you can find preserved wood sometimes, which is really cool. The smell inside my late grandmother's trinket cabinet. It was a mixture of wood and old perfume, and I loved it. I used to open the cabinet just to smell inside it. I would give anything to be able to smell it again.
Thank you so much for watching, friends. Write down the smells you will never forget, subscribe, and like. Don't forget to kiss. You can also check out these cool and interesting videos. Talk to you soon.